Hello students of Standard 6. Today we are going to learn Chapter-8 Murder in the Graveyard Part-2. We have seen in the Part-1 that Dr. Robinson, Muff Porter and Injun Joy came in the night in the graveyard to rob the dead body. And same time, Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer had come to bury in the graveyard a dead cat, which was dead early, and Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry, they thought that if the cat is thrown here and there, so sickness can spread. So they wanted to bury in the graveyard which was freshly put there. The graveyard which was very fresh, the tomb was very fresh, where the person was buried recently, so they wanted to dig and put the cat. But as they came there, they saw these three men were coming, and Huckleberry recognized that is Dr. Robinson, Injun Joy and Muff Porter. Now we have seen also they brought the dead body out from the graveyard and they demanded more to Dr. Robinson. And Dr. Robinson refused to give them the amount they have increased, because it was promised for the $5 and he had paid in advance. The discussion went on, and last happened that Injun Joy stabbed Dr. Robinson and he lay dead. What did Injun Joy do? Injun Joy went and robbed everything which belongs to Robinson, Dr. Robinson. He took out the watch, chain, whatever valuable things were with him, he took. And he sat there, one of the graveyard, and when Muff Porter came to the conscious, what he did, let us listen. Injun Joy robbed the doctor of all his belongings. Then he put the knife in Porter's right hand, which was open. He sat down on the coffin and waited till Porter began to stare the moon. Presently, Porter sat up and looked around him, totally confused. He saw the doctor's body. Then he saw the blood-stained knife in his own right hand. He dropped it at once. "Oh, Joe, what I have done?" he asked in a trembling voice. "You have killed Muff." So he is telling that what I have done, looking at the blood-stained knife. And he says, I have done it. Then Injun Joy says, "Yes, you have killed the doctor." "Me, I never did it." He remembers that he did not kill. He was bitten by Dr. Robinson. Next minute, Muff Porter trembled and turned white. He got very frightened. "It was all that whiskey. I didn't know what I was doing." "You won't tell anyone, will you, Joe?" So Muff Porter told, "I do not know that I have done it. It was all whiskey. So you don't tell anybody, isn't it?" "No, Muff Porter, I won't tell anyone." He says, "No, I will not tell." Porter began to cry like a little child. "Stop that now," snapped Injun Joy. "You go off one way and I will go other." So he said, "You go another way and I will go another way. Don't leave any tracks behind you, but don't leave anything behind you. No signs should be there, no proof should be left." Meanwhile, Tom and Huck were running on and on towards the village. They were very frightened, these little two children. And when they both dispersed, Joe and Muff, so these people, Huck and Tom also, they ran to village. Speechless with horror, terrified that they might be followed. When they finally reached the village, they were too exhausted to speak. They rushed inside an old barn, closed the door, and threw themselves on the floor. When Tom got his breath back, he said, "Oh, Huck, that was terrible. The doctors did." So they both of them ran in the speed, thinking that they will be following. And they came in the village entrance. Somewhere one old barn was there. Barn means store. There they entered and they threw themselves on the ground, on the floor. And once the breath come back, means the panting has stopped. So Tom asked, "Oh, Huck, what have done? See, now doctor is dead. Shall we tell Huck?" So Tom asked to Huck, "Shall we tell the villagers? Tell, if we do, Injun Joe will be after us. He will kill us too." So Huck knew that Injun Joe was very cruel man. So he said, "If we tell anybody, Injun Joe comes to know, then he will kill us too. Let Mock Porter tell." So he's telling Mock Porter did not kill. Let him tell that. "Yes, that's right. Let Mock tell. We must keep quiet. Huck, we must swear we won't say anything." Tom took a piece of wood and wrote it. On it, "Huck Finn and the Tom Sawyer will say nothing. Let them die if they do." Then each boy pricked his finger, thumb, and pressed out a little blood from it. With the blood, each signed his name. They dug a hole and buried the piece of wood. What they had done, they pricked their finger and blood came out. With the blood, they wrote their name, signed it on that wood. And they said they will not say burn anything. If they say, they will die. Like that, they wrote and signed with blood and dug a mud and buried that. Tom ran home. He climbed into his bedroom through the window as quickly as he could. But Sid heard him. Sid is his cousin. They both used to sleep together, and so he heard him that coming night. Next morning, he told Aunt Polly the previous night's happening. She did not ask any question. She only looked sadly at Tom and said, "Oh, Tom, what shall I do? You get worse and worse." Aunt Polly is Tom's mother's sister, and she was so much worried. Every day scolding, she was fed up. So today she did not scold, but she said, "Oh, Tom, you are becoming worse and worse." Tom was very unhappy. His aunt was angry with him. His teacher was angry with him. Perhaps Injun Joe was after him. Worst of all, Becky would not speak to him. She thought Tom liked Amy Lawrence better than he liked her. Tom felt that his heart was ready to break. Now, Tom was so much disappointed and used to scold so much. Today did not scold. She was so angry, she did not say anything. And in the school, teachers were angry because he was with Huck. And here his girlfriend, Becky, whom he likes, she doesn't like him, thinking that he likes Amy, her another friend. And she was worried and she was ignoring Tom. So Tom was feeling very sad because he has no parents, no mother, no father, no one. He's living in auntie's house. And auntie is also angry. In the school, teacher is angry. And his girlfriend, Becky, is also angry, not loving her. So he was totally disappointed. His heart was broken. He says that he did not know what to do. Everybody was angry and he felt himself very lonely and disappointed. Thank you, children.